Genshin Impact is a game that kind of came out of left field for me, not gonna lie. You know, I saw some videos of it and I thought, huh, that looks too good to be true. Oh wait, that's the actual gameplay? Oh wait, what is this on? Mobile? Can't be that. Oh wait, it's on PC? Oh wait, and console? And it's cross-save? And it's cross-play? And you get all these characters? And this is the world and the art? And it keeps going on and on and on. Needless to say, the game is great. It's really, really good. I've put in roughly 60 hours across closed beta 2 and 3, and I'm just eager to play it all over again. Like, I don't feel like I won't be able to enjoy that beginning of the game again because it was so great. But despite that, there are some things that I felt were kind of lacking, and that's really what I wanted to make this video about today. I want to talk about the domain system, the character progression and combat, and the co-op as well. You know, I felt like those things were a little lacking, and today I really want to just get into that and talk about why. So let's talk about domains. Domains are just kind of instanced areas throughout the map where you'll go in and it'll end up being one of two things. A single encounter where you will just fight a bunch of monsters with a specific objective in mind. And then the second one will be more like the traditional RPG experience where you go in and it'll be a dungeon of sorts where you'll have multiple rooms with bosses, maybe a puzzle in there, something like that. And then at the end there will be a big boss and then you get a chest, right? So there's two different kinds. And so I'm going to start calling them just henceforth so that we can differentiate them. I'm going to call the single encounter ones just an encounter domain and the dungeon ones a dungeon domain. So right now in the game there seems to be significantly more encounter domains, and that's fine. You know, you have the Spiral Abyss, which is just basically consecutive encounter domains within a single instance, and that's really cool. But the dungeon domains are kind of lacking throughout the game, and I personally find that the dungeon ones are a lot more fun or more involved. Sometimes they have puzzles and things in them. You know, they have multiple chests in there. You know, you're kind of exploring these instanced areas, and it's just really fun to do. When I last played it in CBT3, they just felt, you know, too far and few in between. You know, there just weren't enough of them. So I would personally just like to see more of the dungeon variants of these domains. I would also like to, you know, see them be co-opable. I'm not sure if they were in CBT3. But when I tried it in closed beta 2, it didn't allow me to do it in co-op, so that was kind of a bummer. So I'm not sure if that's a change that's been made or it's going to be made, or if it has, you know, already been made. But those definitely need to, you know, be able to be done with co-op. You know, usually the dungeon domains are tied to like a story mission or a story quest, and that's kind of, again, a bummer because like once you do a story mission or story quest, you can't really go back and do it and experience it again. So definitely there needs to be way more dungeon ones. There are a couple that you can kind of repeat, but there's just not enough. So really I just would like to see more of the dungeon kinds of the domains. Yeah. Let's talk about the co-op experience next. This has actually already been addressed. The developers have said that they want to make it more beneficial for people who join in co-op, but I really want to just kind of reiterate the current state of it and why it's not that great and what specifically I would like to see be changed in it. So for those of you who aren't familiar, the game does have co-op up to 4 players. The way it works is when you join in co-op, you no longer control 4 characters like you normally do. So if it's just you and a friend, then you each control 2 characters. If it's 3 people, the host controls 2 characters, and then you and the other guy will control 1. If it's everybody in there, 4 people, then everybody controls 1 character. That's cool. That's fine. That really makes it so that you need to do, you know, a lot of teamwork and, you know, combo well together. That's actually a great thing that I like about the co-op. But that's kind of where it stops. So there isn't very much progression that you can get throughout the co-op. You know, you can't open any kind of chests. You can't collect anything in the world. Even if you see it there, you can't pick it up. So you're basically locked in to an instance with the host, but you can't interact with anything at all. So you really just have to follow around the host to help them. You know, you don't get any credit for anything. There are some places where you do, like if you go and take on a world boss together and you spend resin to open up the little loot reward chest thing, you can both partake in that. You can both do some domains, but for the most part, when you're exploring the open world and opening chests and doing things like that, you probably only get about 5% of the rewards that the host would get when you're playing with them. Like, you really get literally next to nothing, and it makes it end up feeling like your only purpose there is to help the host progress, while you really don't get very much benefit. I have seen some people say on Reddit and things like that that can be a way to maximize your rewards every week. You know, you do everything in your world, and then you go over to a host world and you help them with their thing and get another shot at some rewards. I don't know if that's true. I didn't really play too much co-op because of how restricting it was. But the main change that I would like to see is that it just be completely inclusive. You know, if I see any kind of collectibles in the world, I need to be able to collect that if I haven't already. And then it just carries over to my world when I go back and exit co-op. You know, a great blueprint for how co-op should work is Borderlands. If you've never played it, just go and just see the co-op specifically. You can start the game from beginning to end, completely doing everything with friends. There's no restrictions there. And I feel like this should be the same way. You know, I feel like if you're going to implement a co-op feature, then you should implement it to the best of its ability, and that is the blueprint, Borderlands. To me, that's the blueprint for the best co-op experience I've ever had. I think that some people may have some, I don't know, some kind of opinions about that. You know, some people are competitive. They like to compare themselves to the progression of other people, things like that. I can't comment on that. That's a personal issue. But just from a fun standpoint, you know, I just want to be able to play with friends, combo with some friends, and get the same rewards that they do. You know, that's just how I see it. But yeah, that progression in co-op definitely needs some kind of improvement. You know, we need to be able to do all domains together, do all story quests together, pick up open chests together, and both get loot together. You know, if we kill bosses, we both need to be able to get loot, which you do for the bosses specifically. But all those other things, you don't get anything of. You can't interact or collect anything out in the world, so that really sucks. But you really just need to be able to, everything that you can do in a single player mode, you need to be able to do in co-op. And it just, you know, it just tracks your progression. That's just what it needs to be, in my opinion. That would be the best form of co-op. Lastly, I want to talk about the combat and the character progression. The combat system is actually really well done with the elemental system and the combination. There's also a lot of characters. I think there's going to be up to 30 on the release. They all have unique skills and things that they can do, so it does pan out to be pretty good in a single player sense. But the thing that I find issues with is that I wish there were just more actions per character, even just one additional action, maybe one additional skill, or a skill that I can equip or change out, or just something more that I can do with just the basic actions. Like, instead of just having just a basic attack and that's it, you know, maybe like a block or guard or counter, something like that. Just something, you know, sometimes the combat feels a little stale. Now, I do understand that the combat allows you to switch between 4 different characters at any given time, and when you're switching all the time on the fly using different skills from other characters, you don't really notice it too much. But when you go into something like co-op, where they limit the amount of characters that you can control to 2 and then 1, now suddenly it starts to feel a little slow and a little dull. And it's at times like that where I wish that I could do more with any one specific character. Some characters, as you progress and invest, you know, resources into them, they can do more things. So, for example, Amber, right? So she has her skill, her primary skill is the berry bunny or whatever that explodes when enemies get close to it. That's usually set on a timer. After a certain amount of upgrades, she can actually remotely detonate that berry bunny so that she can blow it up whenever she wants to, or whenever you want to, I should say. That's really cool, but that's kind of a niche thing. Not a lot of characters get new ways to utilize existing skills that they've had for a long time. Some characters don't really change too much at all, so when you get them at level 1 and you invest, time and resources into them and they're like level 40 or 50, they're still playing the same exact way. And that's kind of lame, in my opinion. I like investing resources into these characters. I like making them stronger. But if there's nothing really changing about how I can play them and use them, that's kind of boring, and it makes any individual character feel very short-lived and makes them easily replaceable, in my opinion. One thing that I will never really like about the progression with the characters is the constellation system. So, again, for those of you who aren't familiar, there are multiple things to upgrade on a character. You can upgrade their level, you can upgrade their skills, and you can also upgrade, weapons and artifacts as well. Those are kind of separate from the character, but you can upgrade those and you equip them to the character. And lastly, there is the constellation. So the constellations is a set of additional perks or talents that usually are applied to a skill that you use. It's usually passive, mostly passive, but the way that you unlock them is tied completely to RNG. So this game is a gacha game primarily. That's their primary method of monetization. That's how they're going to get money. You spend money and you go in and you make a roll to get an item. That item might be a character. If that item is a duplicate character, instead of getting that character twice, it changes into a resource that you can then apply to your existing character of that same kind. So let's say Amber, again, for example. If I roll in the gacha and I get another Amber, I don't get Amber twice. I get an item, a resource that I can spend on the constellation to unlock a new perk. That new perk, again, is tied completely to me getting Amber a second time in the gacha roll. I have nothing against gacha games, but when it comes to progressing any character, that being tied to the gacha system and the RNG, which can be brutal sometimes, by the way, that absolutely sucks. That is not fun, and you can honestly just probably never unlock certain perk combinations because RNG just might not be in your favor. I mean, think about it. The rates to get a 4-star character were guaranteed if you pull 10, and if not, they were in like the 1 or 2 percentile range. And then for 5-star characters, guaranteed after 90 pulls, you can get a 5-star character after 90 pulls. But aside from that, it was a fraction of a single percentage to get one on a regular pull. And then you have multiple 4-star characters and multiple 5-star characters. There's such a small chance that you're going to get a duplicate that you want that you may never see a duplicate and unlock these additional talents and perks. And that kind of sucks. Now, again, I'm not against the gacha, but I really wish that there was a different way, a better way for me to get the rewards necessary to upgrade these constellation trees. There is the little Paimon shop in the game, and that might rotate and do things like that, but for the most part, it's still kind of hard and rare to get those resources. But that's it in a nutshell. That's kind of what I wanted to talk about when it comes to the character progression and just the combat. It's really solid, but sometimes it just lacks some depth with the combat, and the character progression is just kind of iffy. So just specifically with the constellations, but I don't know. Tell me what you guys think. So those are the 3 main things that I was really concerned with when I was playing the game. It's an extremely fun game. Again, I love it. I'm going to play it. I'm probably going to spend a lot of money on it, and I've been stuck on it for a long time. Like, I think the game, if I had to rate it right now as is, I'd say it's a solid 7.5, 8 out of 10, something like that. I mean, it's really good. But those 3 things specifically, though, I think if they can make those changes, not only would it be just better for the game overall, but it would probably attract, a lot more players. I have friends who saw the game and they were like, wow, it looks great and it's co-op, and then I told them about how the co-op really is and they were just immediately turned off by it. They're probably still gonna pick it up and just kind of dabble around with it, but that's kind of just one of those things, like, man, if it was just a little bit different, or if it was just implemented differently, or it had more depth, it would be so much more attractive to more people. You know, the domains, I like the dungeons. They're fun to explore, and I would love to see that be expanded upon, like they did with the Spiral Abyss and those single encounter challenges. I'd like to see something similar happen with the dungeons, or just more dungeons in general. That'd be great. And yeah, the combat and character progression, I don't think that would be something that'll ever change, but you know, who knows? Maybe if they've run out of character ideas, they finally decide to come back and find some way for you to, I don't know, over ascend your character into some new star rank or something, and they get new stuff. Who knows? I'm sure they'll find some way to benefit and make money off of that. But it's a fun game. It's a great game. I really enjoy it. And yeah, it's Genshin Impact, guys. It comes out on September 28th. It's going to release on iOS, Android, PC, and PS4. It is cross-play and cross-save, with the exception of PS4 not being cross-save. But it's going to be a lot of good fun, guys. I promise you, you're really going to enjoy the game, despite those few things that I don't like about it. But it's going to be something amazing. I highly advise you to go out and get it. It is free to play, and it is a ton of fun. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'm really eager to hear your opinions about these things. And yeah, you guys have a great one. Peace.